Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Let's get started. And we begin tonight with a look at the forecast. A lot warmer today, along with those warmer temperatures, though, a whole lot of rain. Let's get right to meteorologist Michelle Boss tonight. Michelle, are we going to dry out at all tomorrow?
We're going to dry it a little bit, but we are certainly not done with the rain. Kind of surprising to see such warm temperatures without any sunshine, but certainly a warm mass blowing in from the Pacific. Let's take a look at some of these impressive rain totals. More than 2 inches out at Sandpoint and more than 1.5 inches in Coeur d'Alene. In the last 24 hours, about 84 hundredths at the Spokane Airport. Deer Park, nearly 1.4 inches. Not quite as much rain in central Washington. Moses Lake, less than 1/10. Out in Pullman, 65 hundredths. You can see things have kind of dried out across central Washington, but still plenty of shower activity in far eastern Washington and the Idaho Panhandle. As we kind of zoom in, not seeing the heavy rains right now in Spokane, but we certainly are going to see more rainfall for tonight. And of course, with rainfall over 1 inch to even 2 inches, we do have a flood watch across most of the Idaho Panhandle. That continues until noon on Wednesday. We got the rain and the snow melt just adding to the problems. Very mild temperatures, 49 in Spokane at the 10 o'clock hour, still in the 50s in Ritzville, a little bit colder up in the northern Panhandle, 34 in Sandpoint, in the 30s in Omak. We're looking at more showers overnight, very mild temperatures, and then in the mid-50s tomorrow, just a few showers tomorrow, and then more rain Wednesday and Thursday.
All right, Michelle, thank you very much. Tonight, the International Criminal Court announced that it will launch an investigation into possible crimes against humanity in Ukraine. The country held talks with Russia today, but there was no real progress as the war marches on. CBS correspondent Natalie Brand reports from Capitol Hill on the day's developments.
Sirens sounded in Kyiv Monday night as a massive Russian military convoy moved within 17 miles. A U.S. defense official says forces could surround Ukraine's capital city within days, but that's still behind schedule.
The Russians have not only experienced a stiff and determined resistance by the Ukrainians, but logistics and sustainment problems of their own.
Russia shelled the country's second largest city, Kharkiv. The attacks did not slow after 5 hours of talks between Ukrainian and Russian delegates. They plan to meet again soon. Russia again warned its nuclear forces were on high alert.
And we think provocative rhetoric like this regarding nuclear weapons is dangerous, adds to the risk of miscalculation.
The U.S. informed the United Nations it will expel 12 diplomats from Russia's mission to the UN, accusing them of espionage. The UN General Assembly started meeting for a rare emergency special session, the first in 40 years.
Now we can save Ukraine, save the United Nations, save democracy.
Lawmakers received a classified briefing on the crisis as they look to President Biden's State of the Union address to learn more about the administration's request for billions of dollars in aid for Ukraine.
Moscow's airport was quiet Monday as some European countries close off their airspace to Russian planes, and economic sanctions weigh heavier, including more imposed by the U.S. on Russia's central bank. Standard & Poor's cut Russia's credit rating to junk status, and the ruble fell 30%, worth less than a penny. The humanitarian toll of the crisis keeps escalating, with Ukrainians packing Kyiv's train station and refugees streaming across the border. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Back here in Washington, local landmarks like the pavilion at Riverfront Park lit up in blue and yellow in support for Ukraine. Washington stands with Ukraine. That is the message Governor Inslee is sending. He posted a photo of the 520 bridge also lit up in the colors of Ukraine's flag. If you'd like to know more about Russia's assault on Ukraine and how you can help, just use the word crisis and text that to 509-448-2000, and we'll send those links directly to your phone. Turning now to national news, tomorrow President Joe Biden will address the country during the State of the Union address. Biden faces a series of daunting challenges as he prepares to give his first formal State of the Union address. The pandemic, a Supreme Court nomination fight, a stalled legislative agenda, and a worsening crisis in Ukraine. Aides to the president say that foreign policy is currently dominating President Biden's time, so it is unclear how much he will focus on his domestic agenda tomorrow. The date for Washington's mask mandate to come to an end has been moved up. Governor Jay Inslee made that announcement earlier today following talks with California and Oregon.
So after March 11th, the vast majority of businesses and public spaces will be free of a mask mandate, and that includes our schools. the state.
So in less than 2 weeks, you will no longer need to wear a mask in places like schools, grocery stores, and restaurants. Here is a closer look at where masks will no longer be required and where that mandate will remain in place. So in most places, they'll no longer be required as of March 12th. But the mandate will remain in places like healthcare facilities and prisons. Again, this is all effective on March 12th. And coming up in just about 5 minutes from now, we'll share how people are reacting to that now moved up date. In other mask mandate news, today students and staff in the Kettle Falls and Colville school districts had to put their masks back on. Last week, both school boards decided the financial costs of taking off the mask before the state's mandate expired were just too high. The superintendent of the Colville district, who chose to resign last week, estimated that minimum fine potential to be $100,000 per day for each violation, and the maximum could be more than $10 million. New tonight, the third suspect in a robbery and deadly shooting from October of 2021 is now behind bars. 37-year-old Allison Davis died at the intersection of South Custer Road and East First Avenue. After arresting 2 other people in connection to the crime, tonight detectives arrested 22-year-old Simon S. Ben, who they say was involved in the planning of the robbery. He was taken to the Spokane County Jail on charges of first-degree robbery and murder. His bond is now set at $1 million. Now to our night beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. The murder trial for the man accused of shooting his ex-wife in Browns Addition 2 years ago is nearing the end. Nathan Beal is charged with first-degree murder, and this afternoon, attorneys rested their case and presented closing arguments to the jury. We know from Spokane County court documents that Mary Schaefer flew to Spokane from Oregon to pick up the 2 children that she shares with Beal. Well, after getting to Spokane, police found Mary slumped over in her rental car outside of Beal's house with a gunshot wound to the head. Expert witnesses told the jury she was shot from about 2 feet away. The woman who was dating Beal at the time admitted in court that she purchased a handgun at Beal's request. Investigators found that gun in his closet, and it was a match to the bullet that would killed Mary, they say. In closing arguments this afternoon, the defense insisted that Beal is not guilty of murder, while prosecutors argued the evidence proves otherwise.
You know, again, it's just narrow from both my knees. I feel like I'm sucking my legs in the whole time I drive this thing.
Spokane police officers are raising concerns about some of the force's new patrol cars. SPD is currently testing out 2 Tesla Model Y patrol units, and so far they are not being received well. Officers have complained the cars are just too small for police work, as the laptop mounted in the passenger seat takes up legroom and blocks controls on the dashboard. This comes as the department is working to replace its existing fleet of patrol vehicles. The Spokane City Council voted tonight on giving more money to the redevelopment of the former Hilliard Library. The council unanimously passed putting $500,000 toward redeveloping that library into a new behavioral health clinic. That money would help move the project closer to completion, they say. The total cost of the project is $1.6 million, with Multicare and the Northeast Community Center both also giving money for that project. The council also tabled an emergency ordinance tonight regarding zoning changes for historic properties. The ordinance would change language in the city's historic property reuse rules. The changes would clarify that reuse standards apply to an entire property on Spokane's historical register instead of just a single building on those properties. It would also make it so buildings on the National Historic Building Register won't qualify for those reuse permits. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000. We'll send them directly to your phone. All right, taking a look nationally now. Once again, dozens of students walked out of Jimtown High School in support of a former teacher in Indiana. That teacher was banned from the school after reportedly slapping a student. Take a look at that. This is security video of the incident. The investigation is still ongoing. However, the teacher submitted his intention to retire shortly after he was banned from the school. And take a look at this wild video out of Massachusetts. A truck crashed and plunged off the side of a bridge there into the Charles River below. Miraculously, the driver was fine. The truck was carrying mail and packages, which then had to be recovered from that river. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10 tonight, where you get more news in less time. Don't go to bed just yet, though, because coming up, we'll share how local businesses feel about the state indoor mask mandate ending even sooner than originally announced. Also tonight, it is Tom Sherry's last week here at KREM 2, and later in our broadcast, we'll share one of his most impressive accomplishments. We are back in just 90 seconds.